Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Invictus Racing League IRL F1 League. It's a Monday night, which means it's myself, Gareth Hall, and as always, I'm joined by Sab. How are you doing, Sab?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Tonight we're heading to Shanghai, China. Completely different racing what we had to last week around Zandvoort in Holland. Completely different style of race as well. So it'll be fascinating to see how these guys get on this evening.
Yeah, it will be, and as you say, very, very different circuit to what we saw last week out in Zandvoort as we go over from Holland and the Netherlands over here to Shanghai and the Shanghai circuit or Shanghai International Circuit in China. 5.45 kilometer circuit, that's 3.38 miles. It's 16 turns, 51 gear changes over the lap. It's a 380 meter run down to turn 1 from P1. Full throttle for 55% of that lap. In fact, there might be a little bit more in these new cars. Longest pure straight in F1, just over 3/4 of a mile long. Baku and Vietnam technically don't count as pure straights. Top speed around here will be upwards of 208 to 214 miles an hour, running medium to low downforce. And yeah, watch out for some fast racing in this one. That back straight is going to throw up some lunges into turn 14. But yeah, you quickly mentioned the race at Zandvoort last week, and we wouldn't be doing our jobs as commentator if we didn't critically analyse and look back at things that have happened in the past here. And that is the job of a commentator. It is to look back and comment on and analyse things that have gone on. And I feel like it was a bit of a watershed moment last week. There were post-race 11 separate penalties handed out into the league for various different transgressions. It's a difficult one to walk over, and obviously I'm not going to go into too much detail about everything that happened, but we will just kind of tentatively walk over certain things that happened, and equally the behaviour and the accountability needed by some of these drivers on circuit. Now, of course, when you come to league race, you sign up to a league. You sign into their ideals, their community, and you sign into their rules. Now, it's imperative that you read those rules. It is there for a reason. And one of the rules we have here at IRL is that we like to be as thorough and as close to real F1 as possible. Therefore, we penalise where you would be penalised. You are expected to behave on circuit as if you would be if you were out on circuit. That is just how it's always been, and it's always how the community has run to. And unfortunately, last week we had a number of drivers that just dipped below those standards, and it's not for me to sit here and criticise anyone on their driving. Yet I do feel it's important, Sab, as a whole, and this isn't just these guys here in IRL F1, it's not even for everyone driving in IRL as a whole, but the whole gaming sort of community on F1 to really behave themselves on circuit and realise that it's not just them that's out there on circuit, it is also the other drivers, and also the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to make sure that these guys come and have a safe place to race to, and equally, and most importantly, as we've always said, have fun.
Yeah, you said it best just there. What I was about to say is the amount of work that goes on, especially in IRL. I haven't really experienced other leagues, but the amount of work I've seen go on behind the scenes here at IRL, that people take out of their time, I should say, to make sure these guys can go racing, that their race can be streamed, the stewards and incidents are all addressed, and any other issues that drivers might have, like they might be missing races, anything like that, it all gets worked on. And these guys are here to have fun, like you say, and we're not like a dictatorship here, are we? We're not going to say you've got to do this, you've got to do that, and you can't have fun, and it's not like that at all. I feel I'm getting you feel as well, that we just want people just to step it up a little bit, back to where we've seen them racing in previous races and seasons here at IRL F1 and other leagues, and just get back to what we are known for, what we do best here in IRL, and hopefully hopefully it was just a blip, and maybe track specific, because the track is new to everyone at Zandvoort. It was a tricky track to get right, not only in qualifying but in race trim as well. So fingers crossed that all of what happened last week, all the penalties and all the little niggles and everything else, we can move on, get a clean slate, and just go back to fun and having a good race tonight here in China. We've not been to this circuit now for a few seasons now. I personally don't mind this circuit. I've had some success here, so hopefully these guys can show us what they're all about. Let's get their talking done on the track and move away from all the talking off the track.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better there. So we'll leave it there, but yeah, it is going to be a great race, we're hoping, here in China. Very different to Zandvoort, and it is going to be a very open one. And we welcome back Charlie Harris 98. He rejoins us here in the IRL F1 League here in Shanghai. And in fact, the circuit Shanghai was built loosely around the word Shang in Chinese, which means to ascend or to be better. So that's the reason why this circuit is so twisty-turny, because it's loosely based off a Chinese symbol. But currently it's Scopefield that's done 1:29.748, and Burmeister in second, Rimac in third. A smaller grid this evening, Sab, which opens the doors to opportunity for maybe some of those that start a little bit further down in the first three races.
Most definitely, this is a big opportunity to score some good points. That you do obviously have CRG Gamer back with us this evening. Not saying he's going to win, he's not guaranteed the win, but bringing him back does make winning that much more difficult. But like you say, with the field much closer and smaller this evening, it gives everybody an opportunity to try and attack for a potential podium. Who knows? Gamer might have an issue, and you could see a surprise win. Look at what happened in Italy over the weekend in the real F1 at Monza. I'm just keeping an eye on Cliffy right now. He's going to come across the line. The Racer Points drivers look nice and tidy as he crosses the line, but it's only a 1:32.5, so pretty nice and tidy. But I'm sure he'll be working up to something a bit quicker at the moment, with his teammates in sixth just behind TL4 And I just want to say, TL4 has looked absolutely stellar so far this season, and really unfortunate last week what happened to him. He looked at least nailed on for a podium, so he'll be hoping to rectify that this week, I think, and really push for a podium, which I think, based on his race pace so far this whole season, I think he probably does deserve a podium.
Yeah, and he's definitely been one of those drivers I've kept my eye on over the start of this season, because he got faster and faster when he joined us last season, and as you say, he's started very well in this one. Qualified in the last two races in fifth and in third, so TL4S definitely one to watch out for. We're on board with Harry BR25. I actually went go-karting with Harry and Charlie this weekend gone, and had a really fun day actually with down in Brighton with those guys. We met up with him and Harry's dad as well. Who
I'm sorry to interrupt there. Talking of Charlie. So yeah, Charlie's just lost it. Yeah, he can't went underneath him in the Ferrari. Luckily, he kept it out of the wall. He was purple first sector, but the car just went from underneath him, went into the gravel, luckily out of the wall, and he gets to go again and fight another day. But sorry, carry on, Gareth.
No, it's fine. I was just going off into a little bit of a story there. Obviously, went karting with Charlie and Harry, got to know them, and it was a great day. Went out and Harry's dad came along. Very, very nice guy. It's a shame that Harry doesn't take after him, but he is out there on circuits, and he is actually. If we look back at the last time, you were talking about the last time we came to China was a few seasons ago. It was actually season 8 when this was the No Assist League, and it was actually Harry's first race at IRL. And what did he do? Well, he came and won. So he's got pedigree here, and the Williams driver, who's currently leading the championship, he's going to go wide at the final corner and invalidate, but he's going to go round and I'm sure do a new lap. He's on the mediums. Expect to see the mediums used this evening in qualifying by a couple of these drivers. You can see people out there on the softs, but we know the softs, although they're almost a second and a half faster than the mediums in qualifying, they do degrade very, very quickly indeed come race time. So watch out for that. We're now on board with CRG Gamer. He's just gone purple in Sector 1. He's out there on the soft compound of tyres. And Gamer, who is Currently second in the championship, missed the race in Zandvoort last week, and now has a little bit of a deficit to Harry in the championship, just 9 points behind as he goes wide and invalidates that one. So it's a first invalidation for both Harry and Gamer in their first flying laps on the circuit. Harry, however, on those mediums, he's only going to get one set of those mediums, so that's going to hurt him when it comes to possibly trying to get into the top 10 on a differing strategy. Just on board in P13 with Sam Bam Kid, former multi-time champion here, IRL, making his return this time around. He's going to go way wide, taking the esports line around there is during lockdown. He's going to invalidate. So a lot of these drivers getting caught out that last corner.
They are indeed. It is a tricky corner to master. If you try and take too much speed through there, you can easily drift wide, and you know what this game's like for punishing, for drifting ever so slightly wide. It will punish you very quickly. But I'm just keeping an eye on Burmeister at the moment. He's in the Red Bull. He's just fractionally slower in his first sector than his previous time, but he's currently still sat in third. Nobody's budged him at the moment, so Burmeister having a better evening so far by his standards for how he's been going, I should say. Oh, he's all out of shape there, going through the final bit of sector 2, and yeah, that's putting 4 tenths down, so Burmeister won't be improving on this time.
No, it is still with 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in the session. Scopefielder, that is currently your provisional pole sitter, however. Plenty of time for changes. Logshotter's currently on an outlap. Burmeister, as you say, in third position, but way down after that mistake. Scott up in fourth, and that would be a much better qualifying position for Scott. He's really not had the pace in qualifying so far this season. In fact, he's not managed to qualify inside the top 8. So he's had 2 9th places and 1 8th place. So yeah, not inside the top 6 there for Scott. So he needs a little bit of work done if he is to improve. Another one of the drivers that's out on the mediums is Cliffy. Now, Cliffy, he is, we'd probably say he's quite a frustrating driver to watch, isn't he, Sab? Because he's got monster pace. He just never quite seems to lock it in when it comes to qualifying. I was having a look, and he's actually made up the most amount of positions from a starting place this season. He's gained over 25 positions so far from his starting positions over the opening 3 rounds, and he's going to go around. Oh, there's a bit of a twitch there, just putting the power down on the exit of turn 10, and he's going to bail out that on. So that's another driver out the medium tyres that's going to have to probably scrub those tyres off. But yeah, Cliffy just needs to get that qualifying pace sorted out, because we know that he can challenge up the front.
Yeah, he can indeed, and I think he's a potential championship title contender if he can just sort out. I was just keeping an eye on the Alfa Romeo driver of Schofield, and he's just gone even quicker, a 1:29.675 to really solidify that first place at the moment. But 7 minutes on the clock, and I just wanted to point out as well, it's a super lap from Rimac in the Renault car at the moment, a 1:29.901 slots him into second place, soon be the Alpine F1 car next season. But at the moment, the Renault driver of Rimac is having a decent session here in qualifying.
Yeah, the F3, or Season 9 F3 champion. He's made a big jump up to F1 over the last few seasons, and yeah, great time, that 1:29.901, and in fact they're absolutely blasting the times that we set last time we were in the on F1 2019 and No Assist League back in Season 8, when pole was a 1:31.788. So they're almost they are 2 seconds faster as Charlie goes up into 4th position there. So the Ferrari up onto the second row of the grid. So yeah, times absolutely falling off compared to what we put. Obviously, the increased downforce on these cars is really helping out. But yeah, these guys are getting quicker every time we see them out on circuit.
Well, it's the first time I've seen it this evening. The towing of the Williams guys have worked a treat there for Scott. Scott getting a lovely tow down that big long back straight and tucked up right underneath the rear wing of the Williams of Harry to get as much as that as possible. He's coming across the line now. What can Scott do? And it's first place. That toe looks like, well, along with the whole of the lap, looks like to have been absolutely nailed on perfection there for Scott. A 1:29.403. He must be absolutely delighted with that, and that worked out nicely between the pair of them. So I'm wondering if Harry will be just saying to Scott right now, can you just do me a favour, please, and give me some of that as well?
Yeah, absolutely so. And I would imagine to see the roles reversed in that Williams team. We've seen them do it well, quite often over the last season and a half or so. So expect to see the Williams in a role reversal down the back straight. Of course, that almost mile-long back straight on the exit of turn 13 down to turn 14 here in Shanghai. Burmeister is going quicker, and in fact, the time, if he can hold this time, would launch him into 5th position, just ahead of Charlie Harris 98, who's currently in 5th place in the Ferrari. Of course, he has been usurped from the second row from Scott's improvement there with the provisional pole time of 1:29.403. Last time we were here, it was Harry, Charlie, and Scott that made up the podium. So yeah, Harry debut win in IRL, Charlie in 2nd position comfortably, and Scott beats Samu Pepito across the line by 0.04 of a second. It was that close for 3rd position. So yeah, all 3 drivers have been on the podium here in Shanghai. Watch out for them. Of course, they're currently in 1st, 5th, and Harry down in 11th, but I'm sure he's not yet set a representative lap time. But with only 4 minutes left to go session, Sab, you've got to think that it might be a bit nervous if you're Harry.
Yeah, I've just keeping an eye on Harry, and it was a bit of a scuffy lap from Harry. He got it worked nicely, got the toe off his teammate Scott down that back straight again, but he's now the fastest of the medium types, but it's only in P7. And what I'm finding bizarre right now is we're sat about 3.5 minutes left to qualifying, and CRG Gamer is still, after that one run, is still sat in the pits, which is, I'm finding quite bizarre, because it's going to be risky, this, isn't it? Because if he goes out just for one more run and he invalidates that one more run, then that is it. He's starting at the back of the field, and surely with Harry now at the top of the championship, he can't surely be wanting to start there. So it's a bizarre one.
Yeah, tactical decision maybe there for CRG Gamer 62. Of course, last season's champion here in IRL F1 picked up the biggest points haul of all time of 147 points, comfortably ahead of Harry in 2nd position. This stage of the season, last time, it was Gamer and Harry, as they are this season, leading. However, last time around, it was Gamer on 45 points with 2 wins and Harry on 37 points with 1 win. However, this time around, it's as role reversed, as we saw with the Williams. It's Harry leading with 2 wins on 36 points and Gamer in 2nd on 27 points with 1 win. So both the 2 of them seemingly up the top of the F1 paddock, and yeah, it's for everyone else to close in and pass them, it seems.
It really is, and at the moment Scott is making a stake and a claim to try and get himself back at the top. I'm just keeping an eye on TTG Nathan 66, who's done all right for his debut season here at IRL. He's 7/10 up at the moment on his previous time in 8th place with a 1:31.149. So this, if he can nail these final few corners coming up, should be an absolute almighty lap for him. You'd imagine it should at least put him up, I'd say, to maybe 6th, 5th place, maybe even higher if he can nail these final few corners now. But we've got that final corner coming up. We've seen a few guys invalidating around here. Can he get this final corner nailed on? He just about gets it done nicely there. He's going to come across the line. What does Nathan do? That's a decent lap there for Nathan. 3rd place, 1:29.7. That puts him on the 2nd row of the grid with Rimac.
Yep, as we've currently got Rimac on a lap coming down the back straight towards the hairpin to finish off his lap. Unfortunately, he'd gained almost 2.5 tenths in the 1st sector, lost it all in the 2nd sector, so he needs to have hooked up this final sector to improve on the 1:29.901 to push back on Nathan, who's just usurped him into 3rd. Oh, drifting around that final corner there. Can he get it straightened up? And he does manage to jump up by 0.02 of a second. Rimac finds himself in 3rd position. Only 25 thousandths of a second behind Scope, so Rimac with a really impressive time here in the Renault.
He's doing very well indeed, and everybody, interestingly, everybody is out now except Burmeister in 5th and Foxy Red in 9th place. So those guys not fancying it anymore here, it seems. But I'm going to keep an eye on CRG Gamer 62. He's about to cross the line and start his one and only lap. Can he do it? Can he really take it to Scott?
I'll let you stick with Gamer and let us know what his times are as they go through the sectors. We're just on board with Cliffy as he comes down to the hairpin for his last lap. Locks up the front right, and he's going to straighten the car up, send it down to that tricky final last corner on the circuit. Put himself through a lateral -3G, holds on to the line and across the line, and he goes provisionally into pole position by 0.2 of a second. So the Racing Point up into pole position. What can Scopefielder do? Scopefielder's not going any quicker, and time has now expired on the session, so Scopefielder will not be improving. Behind, we've got other drivers circulating that are improving their times. We've got a Racing Point of TL44S coming across the line, only up into 9th position. We've got the Williams of Scott and Harry out on circuit. Harry's on an outlap, but he's not going to find enough time to get round, and so Harry will be finishing in 10th position. So he needs to be jumped by Sam or Gamer at the moment, because otherwise he's starting on used tyres down in the worst position on the circuit, just in the cusp of that fresh tyre window. We've got Scott out on circuit. We've got a Red Bull of Burmeister, the AlphaTauri of Logshotter, who's coming down to the hairpin, who's improving, and in fact he goes wide and around at the hairpin. Goes Logshotter. He was improving on his time. Is that going to hamper Charlie? Charlie is just going to get caught out by it, but will he improve on this? It looks as though it might catch out Charlie. It would have been right in his eyesight. He's going to come up to the line. Can Charlie improve? No, he doesn't. Unfortunately there for Charlie, that spinning AlphaTauri might have just got his eye. Scott has invalidated his time, and CRG Gamer into the box, so there is qualifying done and dusted, Sab. So, well, a really mixed up field there. Cliffy taking a brilliant pole position ahead of Scott Bug, the Scopefielder. Rymac, great session from him. TCG Nathan with his best qualifying of the season. Burmeister equally with his best of the season. Logshotter Charlie, TL44S Harry in 10th position, and then outside the top 10 with fresh tyre choice will be Foxy Red 2000, CRG Gamer 62, and Sam Bamkid.
Gamer I was riding on board with, it didn't look like a nice lap from him. He wasn't setting any purple sectors, and round that hairpin he found the AlphaTauri, and he just had to get out of it. He caught it completely by surprise, had to get out of the power, and by that point he realised his lap was over, so he came straight into pits. So, like you say, what a complete mixed up grid. And I'm imagining right now, Harry sitting in 10th place would have thought, being in 10th place, Gamer probably would have been miles ahead of him, but to be 2 places ahead of Gamer in 10th place, I think he'd be pinching himself at that, and be breathing a huge sigh of relief, I imagine, because he's still got a chance now to take it to Gamer, but there's so many other fast guys ahead of him. It's not going to be an easy race from 10th place for Harry.
No, it's not, and of course he will be starting on those tyres that he set his lap on, so that 130.751, whereas Gamer will have fresh spanking new shiny tyres to put on the 4 corners of that Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 car. So watch out for that one, because it's going to be Harry's going to get who's got a little bit of work to do if he is to take the fight to Gamer in this one. Sam Babkid, he is definitely one to watch out for as well. He is down in 13th position. Of course, he'll have fresh tyres choice, but there is your results for qualifying. Cliffy taking pole position by over 0.2 of a second with a 22.2 flat. Scott Bugner in second with Scopefielder. Great qualifying from him and Rymac to make the second row in 3rd and 4th. Nathan and Burmeister make it an all Dutch 3rd row with Logshotter and Charlie in 7th and 8th. TL44S in 9th, and Harry rounding out the top 10 with Foxy Red 2000, CRG Game 62, and Sam Bam Kid outside of the top 10. Free tyre choice for the Alfa Romeo, Mercedes and Haas F1 cars. And good evening everyone. Hopefully you've enjoyed qualifying. We're now heading into a 50% race around the Shanghai International Circuit here in China. My name is Gareth Hall, joined as always by Alan Sabatino, or otherwise known as Sab. You can find me on GT2_driving on Twitter, and Sab is at Alan Sabatino. And of course you can follow all of what Invictus do by going to at Invictus RL on Twitter, at Invictus Racing League on Instagram, and Invictus Racing League on Facebook. Of course going to the website with the new website in the final stages. I've been saying this every week, the final stages. We're just getting it tweaked and ready to go, but that is invictusracingleague.com, so the new website will be getting released very shortly, so watch out for that one. And if you're watching at home, hopefully you've had a lovely Monday, you had a brilliant weekend, and hopefully you enjoyed a brilliant Italian Grand Prix if you were watching. If not, make sure you catch up on it. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy some good racing here tonight, and we can bring you as much entertainment as you had this weekend. And if you are watching, it helps us out massively if you could give the video a like. Obviously, we the channel is helped with that YouTube algorithm with likes and shares and subscribes and all that good stuff that they do on the socials. So if you are watching and you'd like to help us out, just pressing that thumbs up button does us the power of good. And of course, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you do. 25% of you that watch our races are not subscribed. So what are you doing? Press that red button, get subscribed to the channel for plenty more content on the PS4, Xbox and the PC, because of course this is just very much one of the opening races of the week. We had Xbox F1 last night on twitch.tv as they opened up their 4th round of the season here in China. Then PS4 F1, so the 2 premier classes in the Xbox and PS4 categories on a Sunday and a Monday. And then on Tuesday we've got IRL F2, the step down from this F1 League. And then on equally on Tuesday, so that's on F2, sorry, on the PS4 will be on YouTube, and on the twitch.tv/Invictus Racing League will be Xbox F2, then F3 and F4 on a Wednesday, joined by the brand new F1 PC League, which will be streaming live this week on the YouTube channel as well. And finally on Thursday you've got the Realistic Performance League, our original league here at Invictus Racing League, which throws up some thrills, some spills and a little bit of chaos, and it's always good fun there on a Thursday night, isn't it, Sam?
Oh, it is. It's a lot of good fun. I had a season out from it, but to come back in and being part of the full qualifying and the reverse grid racing, it's a lot of fun, and I definitely urge people to watch if they've never seen it before. I'm going back to tonight, and outside of the top 10, you've got TL4 and Harry are already in the side of the top 10. They're on the medium tyres. That's what they set the times on. But outside the top 10, you've got Foxy on a set of mediums, but CRG Gamer 62 and Sambam Kid are both on hard tyres. So I expect them to go really long into this race, possibly chucking on a set of soft tyres towards the end. But Cliffy right now, leading the pack around. It's not often I get to say this on a formation, like leading the pack around with Scott Bugner not far behind, and Schofielder. Good to see Schofielder right up there fighting at the very front again. He's always been there or thereabouts in F1, but to see him right at the front again is great to see. So these guys just getting the tyres warmed up, ready, and we're looking at a dry race, Gareth, for this race. So no craziness of like last week.
No, and so yeah. Dry tyres will be used for the entirety of this one. They expect the soft runners to come in on anywhere from lap 4 to lap 7. You'll be, even on lap 7, you would have about 72% of wear, and you'll be taking out around about 2 seconds per lap every lap over lap 6. So you stay out there on these used soft tyres. The mediums will go to about lap 13, and of course the hards, they will do pretty much almost the entire race. 27 laps they will do from fresh. So Gamer and Sam with with maybe a little bit of an ace in the hole there with those fresh hard tyres. Watch out for some very, very fast-paced Mercedes and Haas cars later on in this one. It's set to be an absolute thriller here in China. Myself, Gareth and Sab will be bringing you the entirety of this 50% race. 28 laps of the Shanghai International Circuit here in China for the IRL F1 League. Every Monday night streaming at 8 PM here on YouTube with Invictus Racing League. We've got Cliffy7765 on the pole, leading from Scott Bugner in second, Schofielder and Rymac in third and fourth, with Nathan Burmeister, Logshotter Charlie, TL4S and Harry in the top 10. Fresh tyres for Foxy Red 2000, CRG Gamer 62 and Sam Bam Kid as everyone peels into their designated grid slots, getting ready for this one as we get ready to set the lights off with 5 red lights. We get ready to go here in China. Lights out and down towards turn 1. It's a great start, it seems, to Scott Bugner, who's already up into P1. Alongside him goes Schofielder, so Cliffy with a poor start is going to have to sweep around the outside if he's to hold on to the lead of into second position. But Schofielder's going to have the inside, it's going to turn to the outside, so Cliffy might just hold on to second position there. But Scope with a great start. However, it was beaten by Scott, who seemed to have a monster launch off the line in that Williams.
we often see Scott with great starts at the beginning of races, but Cliffy, I was on board with him, just bogged down in his position, and luckily for him, he managed to hold on and keep Schofield behind him. But a great battle between TTG Nathan and Logshotter behind Schofield. They're swapping positions for fun at the minute, and TTG Nathan just about takes 4th place and slots in behind Schofield. And TTG Nathan, a great start for him there as well, with Charlie Harris not too far behind Logshotter either, so he'll be wanting to try and do something. But what a start it has been for Foxy Red, up to 7th place ahead of Harry. He's on those fresh medium tyres and he's really putting the pressure on Charlie for 6th.
He is, as Cliffy comes out of the snail section at turn 13. He's going to get into the toe of Scott Bugner now. Does he just stay in this toe and just save a little bit of battery? You can see he's on the overtake button, so it's switched on momentarily. He's going to go to the inside. Is he close enough to have a lunge? No, he's not, but he's going to go a little bit deep into the braking zone. Just gives us a kiss to that rear rake of the Williams ahead, and Scott Bugner holding on to the lead in this one. Cliffy getting a much better exit out the final corner. He's going to be right in the slipstream of that Williams. Goes to the outside line. Scott leads across the line. However, it's the pole sitter Cliffy that's going to look to sweep around the outside. He doesn't quite have the turn angle to get a cutback on the Williams, and Scott covering very much that door, and behind Schofield are still staying in this battle. TTG Nathan equally doing very nicely in 4th. Logshotter with that good start in 5th. Charlie Harris up to 6th. As you say, Foxy Red, lightning start from him up to 7th, and then obviously behind you've got Rimac, Harry, and it's the Renault of Rimac, it seems, going very deep there into turn 3. Oh no, it was the McLaren of Nathan going very deep. Yeah, the McLaren drops down behind Logshotter once again, but it looks as though Nathan just about held on to it. Of course, one of our old other podium finishes we have had so far this season.
Yeah, Nathan, unfortunate for him there, be frustrated. He's just got to remain calm and try and get onto the back of Logshotter here and stick with his Logshotter. A bit out of shape there, Logshotter, but just about keeps the car going. But at the moment, the top 6, I would say, are all within a second of each other, so this is very close, as Cliffy is not quite close enough to Scott this time. Scott pulling out a bit of a gap now, and Scott will be hoping to try and extend this gap, won't he, and avoid any DRS from Cliffy. But at the moment, Cliffy hanging on nicely to the back of that Williams, and Schofield, like I say, not too far behind. But it's a shame for Rimac. He's down 4 places. He's had a very poor start to this race. Foxy Red ahead of him, and Rimac will be hoping to try and rectify this later in the race as Scott Bugner picks up another fastest lap.
Yep, Scott still leading this one. Harry now starting to put the pressure on Rimac in 8th position. So Harry now needing to get a move on. He goes to the inside line. There's going to be contact between the Williams and the Renault. Just about manages to hold on to it. And Harry just going to take the inside line at turn 2 as the apex started to fall away from him. And Rimac very much saying, try that one again, son, and I'll cut your nose off even more. And Rimac shutting the door. Harry's going to have to try once again, but he's got TL44S for company, and CRG Gamer having jumped ahead of Burmeister, who's fallen down off the start. The Red Bull not having a great start on those soft tyres. He's now found himself between the 2 hard runners, so CRG Gamer and Burmeister and Sambam Kid. Of course, as we said, these soft tyres don't last too long here, so watch out for when we see someone possibly go for an undercut and get off of these red-walled soft tyres as soon as possible. You still want to say super soft tyres, don't you, when you when you see these red-walled tyres?
Yeah, you do indeed. And here we go. Have we got DRS this lap? Is it this lap? We don't seem to be having DRS. I thought DRS was lap 3, but
we do.
But nobody on my screen is running with DRS open, so I don't know if I've got some sort of an issue there. But from my screen, I'm expecting Cliffy to have his wing wide open, and on my screen it didn't. So maybe it was a slight glitch on my side. But at the moment, Cliffy is hanging on to the back of Scott, but Schofield is taking along for a ride as well. Logshotter not too far behind, but he's slowly starting to fall back 9/10 now to Schofield. So at the moment, it's looking like a 3-way battle for first place.
Foxy and Charlie battling over 6th position. The Ferrari and the Ferrari-powered Alfa Romeo in 6th and 7th. And yeah, this sequence here, the opening start to lap, turn 1, 2, turn 4, you just feel like you're going at a snail's pace. It's just so frustrating. You just want to get the power on as soon as possible, but you just have to let the car flow through the corner before you get on that power. Of course, F1 in IRL F1 running with no assists on the car, no performance-based assists, no traction control, no ABS. They all have to make sure that they're very careful and feather that throttle pedal on. And behind, CRG Gamer is now battling with Rimac, so we'll go on board and we'll see. And in fact, Gamer's up the inside. Is he going to get side by side? And in fact, just pushes his way through. And Rimac unable to do anything to come back at the 62 Mercedes of the current reigning IRL F1 champion, CRG Gamer. And Gamer now can scamper away behind Sam Bamkid is starting to close in on Burmeister and Rimac, who's, as you say, fallen back somewhat off this start after starting or qualifying very well. Now finds himself back in 11th position, so might see Rimac dive into the pit lane very, very early, get rid of these soft tyres and start to go on something a little bit harder and possibly extend that stint out a little bit and just change up the strategy.
I wouldn't be surprised in that at all, as Logshotter is the first one to blink when it comes to the pit lane, and Logshotter from 4th into the pit lane. Foxy Red just behind Logshotter at the time has jumped Charlie Harris into 5th place now, but Foxy Red 2 seconds behind TTG Nathan in 4th. But like I was saying earlier, that top 3 now start to really pull away from the chasing pack behind, and they're making a race of their own. But Cliffy just can't get quite close enough to Scott, as we've got a yellow flag in sector 1. What has happened there, I don't know, but it's quickly gone away. It might have been Harry. It might have been Harry, because suddenly Charlie Harris is right on the back of Harry here, and Charlie Harris really fighting hard, but Harry in 6th place hanging on there. But I'm not sure what this yellow flag come from. But going back to what I was originally talking about, and Cliffy, yeah, I think Scott's just saving all his battery, all his energy up for this really long straight here, and using it to his advantage, because Cliffy's getting that DRS, but he just can't get quite close enough to the end of this straight to get a move done. He's 4 tenths, 5 tenths now behind, but at the moment, look, right on board with Cliffy, I don't think he's going to get this move done on this lap either. He's gaining, but unless he sends a really crazy diving lunge, which he's not going to, he's not going to get the move done. So at the moment, Scott is playing this very sensibly and hanging on nicely in 1st place.
CRG Gamer is going to go to the inside. He's going to make contact with the Ferrari, and he almost went 3 wide into the hairpin, and Charlie tried to cover off. He knew that the inside line was open. In fact, he's going to dive into the pit lane this time round, so Gamer now promoted up into 7th position with both Charlie and now Scopefielder into the box. So as we said, everyone's starting to come in lap 4, lap 5, lap 6 off of these soft tyres. So only Scott and Cliffy, and in fact there's been a change for the lead as Scott and Cliffy swap positions, and Cliffy getting a bit of a tank slapper, and Scott's almost lost the car on exit as well. So both these two on the ragged edge. We know that those tyres will very much not be in the optimum condition, so they need to think about boxing this time around. You can see Scott just getting all kind of out of shape on the exit of every single corner. The back end of that Williams not wanting to stay in a straight line. It's like watching Squiddly Diddly out on the circuit at the moment. It's not wanting to hold its position at all. And yeah, they're going to want to think about coming in, because at the moment they've got Foxy Red, Harry, TL44S closing them down at a rate of knots on the medium tyres, and equally behind CRG Gamer now 1.2 seconds behind TL44S. You were talking about that yellow flag. I believe that was actually Harry getting past Charlie. He moved up into 6th position. He's now up into 5th. Harry, who's actually taken 2 wins on this season, he's not actually crossed the line first. So he's been promoted with post-race penalties and time penalties up into the to the lead. So he's actually taken 2 wins without even leading a lap so far this season. So he's just been consistent, and he's made his way up, and now up into trying to fight with Foxy for 4th position. So Harry and Foxy swapping positions briefly there at the exit of the hairpin, but Foxy holding on to the place there. Into the box does finally come the trio of Cliffy, Scott and Nathan, and Rimac is also in out of 9th position. So everyone off of those soft tyres. As down the inside goes Harry. The door is open, but kicks up a little bit of dust there as he takes too much of a tight apex. Foxy's just putting that car across the road, trying to make it as hard as possible for Harry. But if you are Harry, this is worst case scenario, because Gamer's starting to really close in, and we know that he's on those hard tyres and will be going longer.
Oh, most definitely. But crucially, the undercut has worked massively for Schofield. Schofield was absolutely flying on these hard tyres, flown past the pit straight ahead of Cliffy. But interestingly, Logshotter is ahead of Scott. So I have not a clue what has happened there, but Scott has found himself behind the AlphaTauri of Logshotter. So Scott has lost a heap load of time somewhere, and Schofield now is your net race leader. So Cliffy about a second behind, but I don't know what's happened to Scott there. He's down in 9th place now on the hard tyres, stuck behind the AlphaTauri.
Yep, slow stop perhaps for the Williams, and his teammate is now on the back straight. He's in fact very low. Harry's very low on battery power, already down at almost 10%. He's coming down, he's coming. Can he get close enough to send it down the inside of Foxy? No, Foxy's going to go deep, and that's going to open the door for Harry. They go side by side on the exit of turn 15, but Foxy just about holding on to the position once again. So Harry's going to be pulling his hair out at the moment, trying to get past the Alfa Romeo, but the Alfa Romeo are doing all it can. But you can see once again, very nice toe, but Harry's just got no battery to deploy. He's going to go to the inside line, but once again Foxy sweeps and uses the outside line, which at the exit of turn 1 is actually more of an optimum line because it gives you a little bit more turning, and he can hold this inside line here for the second part of the snail section at turn 3 and turn 4. Gets a better run, but Harry's going to do the cutback and sweep back on him. That's a rubbish camera view, but you can see these two still battling side by side. Foxy's not willing to give up. These are the only two drivers that have appeared in every race so far in the reformation of the IRL F1 League since it was born from the ashes of the No Assist League. These two are the only two that have managed to attend every race so far, and out of the two of them, Foxy Red is the one that holds the record for the longest winless streak, because of course Harry's picked up 3 wins here in the last few seasons here. So yeah, Foxy Red will be desperately trying to hold off Harry, because he knows, although Harry is first in the championship, he desperately wants that first win here on Monday night.
What a battle we have got here between Scott and Logshotter. They have been side by side for this lap, I'd say, through every single corner. Logshotter and Scott have just given themselves no room at all. They've been fighting fair, but there's been no room between them at all. You think Scott's got the move done, Logshotter comes back. Logshotter thinks he's got the move done, Scott comes back. But now, crucially, Logshotter is going to get really done over here by DRS from Scott. Scott, imagine, but the 3 wide. Nathan's fancying it as well, and Nathan takes both of them. What a move that was from Nathan. Nathan round the outside. Scott's thinking, I'm not having any of that. He tries to get his elbows out on that McLaren, but Nathan will have the inside line here. Surely Scott's going to have to yield. Scott does have to yield. He gets a little nudge from Nathan, but what a move this is, and what a battle we've got for fighting over 8th place here. Scott's still not giving it all going into the first corner. Logshotter trying his hardest as well, but Scott's banging wheels now with the McLaren, and Nathan, he's just about going to lose that position as he touches wheels with, it was always going to end in heartache, and unfortunately that door was always going to close, and Nathan lost out the worst there, and unfortunately drops down to 11th. But that was a great lap between all 3 of them, and TTG Nathan, I think, completely surprised Scott and Logshotter there, and nearly paid out, but unfortunately the door was closed on him and he had nowhere to go, and Scott eventually claims 8th place. But in all that battling, we've just seen Schofield lose out to Cliffy, but crucially Scott is now 4 seconds behind Schofield and Cliffy, who are fighting for what would be the net lead.
Yep, not ideal if you're Scott Banniger, who also was running in first for such a long period of the opening laps, and he's now found himself down the order, much behind Schofield, as you say, now 3.8 seconds behind. Harry managed to get past Foxy Red for the lead. CRG Gamer got past TL44S, so Gamer now closing in on Foxy in 2nd position. Of course, he's on the hard tyres, so he is on a strategy that will allow him to go much deeper into this race. We're expecting the race to be dry, but we've got some real cloud cover coming over now, so this the track temperature will be dipping. We had sun at the start, it's very much cloud cover now, and this is that sort of cloud cover where it often puts you off, doesn't it, because you think, we never quite know what it's like here, because it says it's going to be dry, and occasionally you get those few spits of rain that just come down and just disrupt this flow that these drivers will be in here at this circuit. It is a circuit that does allow you to get into a bit of a rhythm, much like Zandvoort. I found it was quite an easy circuit once you got into the rhythm of just being a little bit more repetitive. But if you're the likes of TL44S, once again, the Racing Point doing very nicely indeed. He's 2 places ahead of his teammate. Of course, his teammate has made a stop, but TL44S has been improving week upon week upon week here in the IRL F1 League. As you can see, a little bit of a lock-up there for the Mercedes CRG Gamer 62. He's now 1.1 seconds behind Foxy Red 2000, who's closing in on Harry. Foxy has got, what is that, just over 50% of battery, as he's putting a little bit on to squeeze down to Harry towards the back end of this one. So interesting to see a couple of these drivers deploying that battery power differently. Some starting at the top of the straight. Foxy Red deciding to use it halfway down to get closer towards the hairpin.
It is interesting indeed. And just going on TL4 first, he's hanging on nicely to the back of CRG Gamer, and this'll do him good because he's managed to hang on. He's getting a nice tail off that Mercedes, and it's keeping him in contention here for a really strong finish. CRG Gamer just outside of the DRS zone to Foxy ahead. So TL4 for us, if he can get a bit closer, he might be able to challenge Gamer for 3rd place. Just further back, Scott Bugner's not really making much of an impression on Scopefield. In fact, he's losing time to Scott Bugner now, to Scopefielder now, 4.4 seconds. Scopefielder in that bit of a lull at the minute. He got passed by Cliffy, and he's now not able to really maintain a challenge on Cliffy. That's dirty air getting all over the Alfa Romeo, and he's getting the DRS, but similar to what we've seen earlier on in the race, that DRS not really giving him any opportunities to get the moves done. But Cliffy is slowly starting to catch up with the likes of Sambam Kid in 5th place. It's now down to 12.5 seconds. So Cliffy in a strong position right now at lap 11 of the race.
Yep, taking pole position, currently in 6th place. And welcome to everyone joining us this evening. Hopefully you're enjoying your evening here. It is the Invictus Racing League IRL F1 League. My name is Gareth, joined as always by Sab. We're watching the lead battle with Foxy Red closing in on Harry. In fact, he's going to have a peek to the inside. Not quite close enough this time round. CLG Gamer, TL44S and Sam Bam Kid. Don't sleep on Sam. He's currently in 5th position, and this one started from 13th and last on the grid. It's a smaller grid this evening, unfortunately, due to a couple of transgressions from Zandvoort. We're missing a few drivers, and equally a couple away on holiday this week. As into the pit lane does come your race leader, Harry. So Harry now into the box. So he's going to try and get the undercut on Foxy Red and try and get back out with a bit of a gap between himself and the Alfa Romeo. That's promoted now Gamer 62 up into 2nd. Sam Bam Kid now into 4th. Cliffy and Schofield have jumped past Harry. Harry's going to come out behind his teammate, and is he going to come out alongside Charlie? Charlie sweeping, just about managing to hold off Harry there, but they're going to go side by side. Charlie opening the door, but we know that these two, they get on well off the track. Do they get on well on the track? Well, we'll find out, because Charlie and Harry go side by side. Charlie very much shuts the door and says to Harry, well, you're going to have to work to get past me. Here comes Harry, not quite close enough. He's going to try and go to the outside. He's on fresher tyres, but of course Charlie's on the mediums, but Charlie very much shutting the door to Harry. So this is not what Harry wants at all.
No, definitely not. He'll have seen his teammate fly past him, and he'll be wanting to try and hang on the back of his teammate. But now Charlie was reeling in Scott, by the way. It was down to about 1.2 seconds. Charlie was catching him at a rate of knots, but this now battle has extended that gap to 2.2 seconds. So Harry will be very frustrated with that. He'll be wanting to try and dispatch the Ferrari driver as quick as possible. And you'd imagine down this straight now, Harry will have a great opportunity to get past Charlie. But just looking a bit further up ahead, Foxy Red has come into the pits now. Foxy Red into pits. He's going to try and cover off Harry. So CRG Gamer, starting from the back row, is now your race leader at the moment, going into lap 13 on those hard tyres, and he has dropped Sam Bam Kid by 2 seconds. Sam Bam Kid also started from the back of the grid. He's now in 2nd place. So Foxy Red and TL4 for us into the pits. So CRG Gamer and Sam Bam Kid 1st and 2nd.
What happens with the exit of the pit lane? Does Harry get the jump on him? Of course, he managed to come in and lap before, but Foxy's going to come out, and it's going to be just ahead of Charlie. So that battle with Charlie has cost Harry the opportunity of getting the jump. So we've now seen a swap in the pit lane. The overcut for Foxy Red 2000 has worked with the traffic for Harry holding up the Williams driver. So Harry now back down into 7th position. Of course, there's still a couple of stops to be made. That is Gamer and Sam Bam Kid, who are currently your net what? I'm trying to work out what they be, possibly around about 4th or 5th maybe when they come and make their stops, because they're going to go much deeper into this one. They're going to go, of course, maybe even another 10 laps or so, possibly, if they want to run onto the soft tyres. Maybe a little bit less if they're going to go and do a hard to medium strategy. They've done 12 laps on the hard tyres, and they can go a little bit longer. These hards do last quite nicely here in China. Harry's now closing it in on Foxy after being jumped in that pit lane, but he's not going to get past this time around. He's 7/10 of a second, and he's only managed to recover about 40% of that battery power, and he's not using it down the back straight down towards the hairpin, but that DRS toe is allowing him to close up. And once again, Foxy going deep, you can see locking that front right up into the hairpin, and that's allowed Harry to close back in. But yeah, Foxy doing a good job of holding off Harry. Harry, if you think he's going to be screaming blue murder at Charlie for holding him up after coming out the pit lane.
He most definitely will be, as we see Harry, and now he's clear of Charlie, gets the fastest lap of the race, and he'll be wanting to put the pressure really on Foxy. Foxy has run wide there. Oh, and they've touched. Foxy and Harry have touched, and Harry spun round. That's disaster for the Williams driver. Foxy Red went wide, but came back across the track. I don't think he quite expected Harry to be there. Harry up the inside, and it was marginal touch there, and it was just enough to send Harry spinning round, facing the wrong way, and now Harry has dropped all the way down to 11th behind TGG Nathan. Absolutely disaster there for the Williams driver, Harry. You was talking about him screaming blue murder earlier. I imagine he's going to be absolutely spitting feathers now. Yeah,
and he just got a Dutch kiss from Burmeister going into the apex of turn 6 as well. Burmeister clattered into the side of Harry, lost a front end plate. He's now going to come under threat from Rimac, and Rimac, who is not enjoying the race like how he was enjoying qualifying. He's now in last position, or 13th. Of course, only 13 cars out. No one's retired yet, which is always good to see. However, it does mean there'll be 3 unfortunate drivers that will be finishing without points, but one of those will hopefully not be Harry. He'll be hoping at recovering after that spin. He'd made that move a couple of times, and it hadn't come off on several drivers, but you can see he just tried to take the inside line, and it was very much cut off and into the box. I said they'd be going longer, but they're actually in this time around. So Gamer and Sam deciding to go onto the mediums and make these mediums go about just under half the race distance. So out of the pit lane will come Sam Bam Kid. He's going to come right into this battle between Harry and Logshotter. We've got a squeamish jump from you. What's happening?
Gamer almost lost his Mercedes there. He clipped the inside curve in turn 1. Car was pretty much sideways going wide into turn 2, just about held onto it there, and those medium tyres fresh out of the blankets not working for Gamer straight away, and it nearly almost cost him big time there, and luckily it didn't lose him too much time, but that would have been a hell of a scare for him coming out of the pit lane and finding himself all out of shape. So hopefully for Gamer's sake now he can get himself back into his groove and now go on the hunt for that podium place, winning position. Who knows? You never know what Gamer can do, and I'm sure he'll be having at least one eye on a podium with Scott Bugner currently in 3rd place. But at the moment, Cliffy, I'd say he's looking very strong, isn't he? He's pulled out a 2.3 second lead over Schofield in 2nd place now. Cliffy looks like he's gonna go well here if he's going to get beat tonight. In a moment, Cliffy from pole position. We've said this often, haven't we? If Cliffy can get pole position, he's always looking very strong for a race victory. And right now, he's looking like that. It's TL4S and Charlie have swapped places down in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, 3 wide down the back straight between Sam Bam Kid, TL4S and Charlie into the hairpin. Kept it clean behind. Harry, once again, is having a nightmare out there on circuit. He's going to try and go to the outside Logshotter. He last lap around tried to do the same move that he did on Foxy Red on Logshotter and did exactly the same thing, except for this time it was only a half spin and not a full spin. So this time around the Williams does manage to get the outside to the inside line on the AlphaTauri and now up into 10th position. But Harry pushing very hard, costing himself a lot of time ahead. CRG Gamer on those medium tyres, they're 0.6 of a second faster than the hards when fresh. Of course, the guys at the front have done 8 and 9 laps on them. So I think you said that Cliffy's looking pretty safe. I think that Gamer and Sambam Kid are very nicely placed if they're looking at picking up a first and a second. This would be Sam if he manages to, or I say Sam, they're both Sam, but we'll call Gamer 62 Gamer. But this would be Gamer's second win if he can manage to overhaul the 4 cars ahead of him, and he's right onto the back of Foxy Red ahead. And you can see Gamer now really closing in, and this could almost be shaped up for a double overtake here if he gets a good enough deployment of battery. Here comes Gamer. You can see Foxy and Scott will be swapping positions, but here comes Gamer. He's going to try and take 2 into the hairpin. Who breaks latest? It's going to be Scott, but it's going to be Gamer. We use the traction of those fresh mediums that's going to get 2 overtakes in 1. Scott's going to try and come back at him. It's not really an overtaking position here. Who's going to have the line? It's going to be a side-by-side banging wheels through the exit, and they're going to go 3 wide down the main straight. Scott's currently got the position. Foxy now takes it, and Gamer's now back down into 3rd position. So we're back down to all positions for Gamer forcefully making his way past Scott, and Scott's not going to enjoy that at all. But unfortunately, Gamer, with that advantage on those medium tyres, will have the pace advantage on the Williams behind. But we'll see, will Gamer now take a look to the inside of Foxy Red into the next corner? He does, and locks it up to a pair of them, but it looks as though, in fact, the Alfa Romeo running wide on exit. Gamer now finds himself up into the podium. 3rd position, now only 6 seconds back off the lead.
What this has done as well, this has helped Sambam Kid out no end. He was about 2.7 seconds behind this battle for 3rd. These guys battling the way they have. Sambam Kid now is only 1.2 seconds behind 4th and 5th place now. So Sambam Kid has benefited no end, and I believe he also picked up fastest lap, previous lap. So Sambam Kid on a charge. And you said these looking strong for first and second. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. That is Burmeister, unfortunately retiring from the session. But yeah, Sambam Kid, he's looking very handy now. You'd imagine Scott Bugler and Foxy Red will be not looking forward to having a battle with Sam, who's got a yellow flag in sector 1. I believe that was also for Burmeister. But yeah, CRG Gamer now, he's about 6.5 seconds behind Cliffy with 10 laps to go. Can he do it? I wouldn't put it past CRG Gamer too. What do you think, Gareth?
I think he's got a very good chance. I think Sambam Kid has equally got a great chance of closing in on a first podium in a long time, and I'm sure our resident stato MJ Coop will be desperately flicking through the pages in the historical results to find out the last time that Sambam Kid stood on an IRL podium. It's not been for a while, but into the box comes Charlie. So Charlie falling down the order in his return to IRL F1. He's been involved in quite a few fights with several other drivers out on circuit this evening, but you can see Sam now really starting to close in on Scott, and there's the retired Red Bull of Burmeister. Burmeister making the first retirement of the evening. And it's, well, luckily for us, only 1. It was 8 in Zandvoort last week, which equalled the record in IRL F1 for most amount of retirements ever, with equal back in Brazil the season previous, in season 9. But you can see kicking up the dust is Foxy Red 2000. That's not going to help as they come into the exit and into the DRS detection zone for Scott Bugner and for Sambam Kid. And much like Gamer had, Sambam Kid's going to get a monster double toe down this back straight now, and he's not quite closing in as much as Scott is on Foxy, but here comes Scott. He's going to have a look to the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Now Sam, is he just going to play this carefully and just try and pick up the pieces? You can see Scott and Foxy once again trading paint as they go through the hairpin. Sam tagging the back of Scott. Has he lost any front wing there? Just got caught out there by the braking point as Charlie picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 11th position. But yeah, Sam, he's on this. Of course, he's on tyres that are much nicer than these hard tyres. And in fact, he's going to take a much differing line to the Williams into turn 1 and turn 2. And he's just going to watch out because, of course, braking points will be slightly different for those medium tyres to the hards. But I'm sure he'd be frustrated watching Gamer charge up the road towards Schofield and Cliffy. But if you're Sam Bam Kid, he's got to think that he can definitely clear these two ahead. He's just got to be patient.
He has indeed, but I imagine he'll be looking at CRG Gamer and seeing he's already nearly 4 seconds up the road from him, so he's losing a heap load of time stuck behind Scott and Foxy Red here. But like you say, he's got to be patient. I was just having a look at the front of Sam's car. He doesn't appear to pick up any wing damage, which is great news for him. He knows then he can still attack through these corners and really take it to him. But CRG Gamer further ahead, now down to 2.2 seconds behind Schofield. You can see Schofield down that back straight, so Schofield is reeling in the Swede, Gamer is reeling in the Swede Schofield very quickly, and I imagine within a lap or two, Gamer will be within DRS of the Alfa Romeo.
As we've got Scott trying to go to the inside, and this time once again contact between Sam Bam Kid and Scott Bugner, and just getting caught out. This battle that's going on in front of Sam Bam Kid is really catching out. Or the battle that's going on between Scott and Fox is catching out Sam in the braking point. He just needs to just take it easy, wait and pick those places, because you don't want to be picking up wing damage here. It will really hurt you in those medium speed corners. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1 and in Sector 2. Looks as though we've got TL44S that's down in 12th position. Charlie Harris and Rymac is currently in 11th and 10th, as Rymac has now finally got past Logshotter. Those two have been trading positions and trading places for a while. Once again, they're into turn 1, into turn 2 and turn 3, and Rymac does get up ahead of the Alpha Tauri and can now start to make some progress. And in fact, Logshotter a little bit of torque steer there for his troubles on exit of turn 3. Scott Bugner is still closing in on Foxy Red, but up ahead, CRG Gamer now only 1.5 seconds behind Schofielder.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on CRG Gamer, and he is tantalisingly close now to getting within DRS of Schofield. Cliffy will be hoping to try and pull out as big a gap as possible to Schofield. At the moment, he's keeping it within 3.2, 3.3 seconds. So, at the moment, Cliffy just about hanging on in there, but Gamer won't be able to get anything done on this lap. Still 1.1 seconds behind, so Gamer will have to do it on the next lap, and then it's a case of, if he can get it done, can he reel in Cliffy? With only 8 laps to go of this race, this is going to be incredibly tight. This could potentially go down to the final lap of the race.
It really could. It's getting close. We're on lap 21 of 28 here at the 4th round of the season, the IRL F1 League. You are listening to Gareth Paul at GT2_driving on Twitter, and there we go. I'll get a word out eventually. Alan Sabatino at Alan Sabatino on Twitter. Of course, you can follow everything from Invictus going to at Invictus RL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Instagram and on Facebook. Of course, going to the website invictusracingleague.com to get yourself on the grid for the coming season. We're only 4 rounds in of a 12-round season. Plenty more racing to come. Of course, next week we head over to the how do I put it nicely, Sab? I'm sure you can probably tell by my lack of enthusiasm where we'll be going next week.
I don't need a guess, do I really? I'm sure it's Abu Dhabi if I'm correct. But just going back, I'm keeping an eye on CRG Gamer, and now he's well within DRS and Schofield. I think it's just going to be a sitting duck here, unfortunately. He's not really going to have any defence here. CRG Gamer will shortly have DRS. Here he comes, DRS fully enabled. Schofield can't do anything about it. CRG Gamer now into 2nd place, 10 places up from where he originally started. CRG Gamer in that black liveried Mercedes now. His next target is 4.1 seconds up the road, so Cliffy has managed to pull some time out, but right on board with TRG Gamer, he can just about see that pink racing point ahead, so game on for Gamer.
I'm sure Sambam Kid is absolutely sick to death at staring at that rear diffuser of the Williams of Scott Bugner. Scott's going to try and squeeze him out wide, and Sam's going to have to take a wider line and sweep around. Can he hold on to line though? Scott's going to cover off the apex of turn 2, and Sam once again has have to try again. But as you say, yeah, CRG Gamer now up into second position, and now 3.6 seconds behind, but with plenty of time to reel in. Sam's going to go for a late lunge, and there's contact between himself and Scott Buckner, and Scott just gives him a bit of a side panelling there, and Sam, he went for a deep lunge there from a long way back. Scott probably saw him coming, but didn't have enough time to straighten up the car and allow the space, and there was contact between the two. So Sam falling down a little bit. He's lost a little bit of time there. This is helping Harry. However, Harry is, I'm sure, having watched Gamer return after a race off, and is now up in second. Harry down in 7th. This is the last thing he wants. He had a 8-point lead coming into this week's, 9-point lead coming into this week's play here in China, and that is going to be very much evaporated if he cannot pick up some more points, with Gamer possibly eyeing up another win to add to his growing tally here in Invictus.
I have to say, Foxy Red, big respect to Foxy Red. He's hung on to that 4th place now for what seems like an eternity. He's had a battling Scott Buckner behind him, a Sambam Kid who must be getting incredibly frustrated, stuck behind that Williams. But Foxy Red is hanging on to 4th place nicely, and I have to say it's been absolutely superb to watch him defend against these two, trying to force away past. But just further ahead, CRG Gamer has gone from 4.1 seconds to 3.1 seconds in one lap. He can see the racing point even closer now, so we could be getting maybe second to last lap shootout here. CRG Gamer, this is the CRG Gamer we know, don't we? We've seen many times when he's on the hunt, when he's on the prowl to try and get that race victory. When he can smell that blood, he knows he can get a win here. This is the Gamer you want to be afraid of. And right now, Cliffy must be absolutely hoping for that lap counter to go down much quicker than what it is.
Yeah, he is. He's probably hoping for a safety car to come out and possibly spare his blushes a little bit here, because he can try and extend it out and then just desperately save some battery to hold off as Sam once again tags the rear end of Scott Buckner. You can tell how much the Haas is wanting to get past, and we've had thanks to very much to MJ Cooper, who's got back to us and said that last time Sambam Kid managed to get on the podium was Brazil season 6 on F1 2018 on the final race when he won so it's been a long time, but it looks as though not being able to get past Scott and Foxy Red is going to possibly extend that to another couple of races, because Sam, it looks as though he was on for a good result, but he's not been able to get past the Williams. He's not been able to get past the Alfa Romeo. In fact, the Alfa Romeo has broken 1.3 seconds ahead of Scott. Scott on 16 lap old hard tyres, 8 laps for Sambam Kid. He's going to try and get the switchback, but Scott just covering off the apex and just like a tank crawling his way through every single corner. It's almost like he's making that Williams Mercedes about 40 feet wide if you're Sambam Kid at the moment. The Haas just not able to close in and pass, and Harry is closing in. He's now only 1.7 seconds behind this fight for 4 seconds. So it'd be interesting to see if this is tactics for Scott, because Foxy Red is now disappearing up the road. He's outside of DRS. Will Scott, of course, has had his worst start to a season ever in Invictus. It's the only time that he's ever been scoreless out of 3 races. Will he be holding up the Haas now to try and get Harry to close in so that Harry can recover some points?
It'd be a bold move if he can, but I think what he's got to try and do is keep Sam behind, because he's not going to give up on this 5th place, and now Scott won't have DRS to defend. Sambam Kid could have a real opportunity here to get past Scott. Here he comes. Sambam Kid's got a great opportunity now, sweeps round the outside. Can he get the move done? Scott Bugner's going to be late on the brakes as always. Up the inside, the bang wheels once again. How many times have we said that this evening? Banging wheels. Sambam Kid now on the inside line. and neither of them are getting into room. Sambam Kid sticks his elbows out, forces Scott wide, and Sambam Kid takes that 5th place, but Scott is out of the race. Oh dear, he's hit the pit lane wall, and Scott has brought out a virtual safety car, and you mentioned about how bad a start it's been, and unfortunately all that battling has ended up coming to blows at the end there. That's desperately unlucky for Scott there.
Yeah, Scott, he tried to go side by side with Sam into the final corner. Sam had the inside line, Scott had the outside line, and when he swept in, unfortunately there was contact between the pair of them. Scott had tried to force the Haas out wide as Rimac picks up a drive-through penalty under the VSC. We're back green almost straight away, so the VSC was only out very, very briefly. Yeah, unfortunate for Scott, they just got onto the dirty stuff, off circuit, onto the marbles, came back on dirty tyres, overheating tyres, and yeah, unfortunately the back end of that Williams just getting all squeamish into the wall, and luckily did not collect Harry, his teammate. But unfortunately for Scott, that's another scoreless race for him, and it adds to a 3rd DNF on the season for the Williams driver, and he'll be mega frustrated with that. I'm very much sure of that. But what it has done is release Sam Bam Kid up into 5th position, who's now already into the DRS of Foxy Red 2000 ahead. So Sam now closing in on 4th position. CRG Gamer now 2.1 seconds behind Cliffy, so Cliffy has got 3 laps to hold off a 2.2 second advantage over Gamer. Gamer is going to be turning the wick up to everything. He's going to be turning that the levels up to 11. He's putting everything into it. He's got to close in 2.135 seconds over the final 2.5 laps of this race here in China. And if you've enjoyed it, guys, make sure you give us a like on the video. Really helps us out to get our videos pushed through to new audiences and new people watching. And of course, it's very nice for us to just see that like counter go up as well. And of course, if you're new, make sure you press subscribe. Plenty more racing here, the IRL F1 League, throughout the rest of the season. Next week we head over to the car park of Formula 1 of Abu Dhabi for the UAE Grand Prix, and we'll be heading there for round 6 in 2 weeks time, and we head to the streets of Monaco and the race around the Principality. So it's going to test these drivers to the very limit. That gap now at the lead is now down to 1.8 seconds. Sam Bam Kid now 0.4 of a second behind Foxy Red. So even with just a couple of short laps left to go in this one, it's going to go right down to the wire.
You mentioned about that VSC being very short, and I think it might have caught Cliffy out, because Cliffy was, when he was under VSC, Cliffy was 2.7 seconds ahead of Gamer. But when the VSC turned to green again, I think Cliffy was caught out a little bit, the fact that the VSC went quickly, because Gamer gained 0.4 instantly on Cliffy, so I think Cliffy was just caught out a little bit by the VSC going back to green as quick as it did. But right on board with Gamer, I'm keeping an eye on this. It's 1.8 seconds. He's so close to that pink racing point now. Cliffy will be able to see that black Mercedes coming. You could just imagine the Jaws music being played now in Cliffy's ears as he can see that Mercedes reeling him in. But with just 1.5 laps left, can Cliffy hold on? Because if he can keep it outside the DRS zone, he might just be able to do this here. I imagine he's going to be saving all his battery up for as much as possible for the last lap battle, but at the moment it's only coming down slightly, and it's now 1.6 seconds. So if he can hold on somewhat, this would be one hell of a hold, and CRG Gamer will be feeling a bit, probably as frustrated as what Carlos Sainz was yesterday, thinking he might have had the race win and just to miss out. But I'm not ruling out Gamer just yet. It's now 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's getting close. We know that you start to feel the effects of the tow here around 1.6 seconds away, so he's going to get a bit of a tow down this back straight. He's within that 1.6 second window. Can he, I imagine that Cliffy will be deploying his battery as much as possible to defend. We're going to come on to the last lap of this one. Cliffy has just got just a few more corners, 16 more turns, a 5.4 kilometre run to the flag here. As into the box is going to come Gamer. So Gamer into the pit lane on the last lap. Now, that is a very strange decision. Surely you've got to think, does he think there's a gap enough for, well, That is completely blown my mind. There's no one in. There's no one in. So it's a drive-through penalty. A drive-through penalty on the last lap for the man in second position. So into the box comes Gamer. I didn't see anything flash up saying he had a penalty. So Gamer with a drive-through penalty on the last lap of the race.
Wow. Wow. I seen Rymac pick up a drive-through for speeding under VSC, but I never seen Gamer, unless it's been picked up on stream and we've both missed it, but I never seen that. That is really, Cliffy must be breathing a huge sigh of relief now, because he's got 7.8 seconds lead over Scopefield. Scopefield are hanging on in there in second place. Foxhound is really in Scopefield, but I think it's just going to be a bit too much for Foxy to steal second place off him. But Sandbound Kid, can he steal third place from Foxy? Because Sandbound Kid 0.6 of a second behind, but Sandbound Kid has got Harry only a half a second behind, so we could have a three-way battle here for third place. Here is Harry, a little bit out of shape there, so Harry loses some time there, but Foxy Red will do well here to hold on. But Cliffy now coming down to hairpin for the final time. Cliffy thoroughly deserves this. You probably agree with me. Fully deserves to win this race from pole, and he's going to take the victory tonight. Absolutely superb racing. He'll be breathing a huge sigh of relief to see CRG Gamer come into the pits, and there you have it. Cliffy, huge congratulations to Cliffy. Race winner this evening here in China. Scopefield, a very nice win, second place for Scopefield, with Foxy coming home in third. Sandbound Kid in fourth with Harry. Harry will be absolutely gobsmacked to see that he has come home ahead of CRG Gamer, when he probably thought he was going to lose a heap load of points to him tonight. So CRG Gamer, I imagine, will be absolutely really frustrated. Don't you think? He had that race win within his grasp, and that drive-through penalty ended up dropping him down into sixth place.
Crazy ending to that. We will need to find out from CRG Gamer 62 what caused that drive-through penalty. Picking up, he got within a second of Cliffy on the last lap. It looks as though we were going to have a last lap battle for the win, but last lap dash into the pit lane for a drive-through penalty has cost CRG Gamer not only a place on the podium, but equally taking back some points in Charlie on Harry in the championship. But there is the what I'm sure will be a very relieved Cliffy, but equally a very much deserving Cliffy. What a race from the Racing Point driver. We said that if he could sort out his qualifying woes that he would be challenging up the front, and proves us by going and sticking it on pole and taking the race win. And all equally, what a result from the Alfa Romeo team. Scopefielder and Foxy Red 2000 managing to pick up a double podium for the Italian outfit. And yeah, well, we've seen in F1 this weekend to a brand new podium. Well, there you go. There's a brand new podium. Cliffy takes the win from Scopefielder. Foxy Red in third position. Sam desperately just falling out of reach of the podium, his first since season 6, so he will have to go again in Abu Dhabi in a week's time. Harry manages after that spin to recover to 5th position, crucially ahead of CRG Gamer 62, who after that penalty dropped to 6th. Nathan in 7th, Charlie of the fastest lap in 8th position. TL44S picks up 2 points, a Logshotter picking up the final point. Unfortunately, Rymac is the only driver to finish outside. Of course, Scott made contact with the wall after contact with Sandbam Kid and Burmeister. We lost earlier on in the race, but I'm sure we'll hear from the drivers very shortly, Sam. But yeah, it's always great to see new guys up the top, isn't it?
It certainly is, and we'll hopefully be hearing from the guys very shortly. I always like, we said, didn't we, it was an opportunity for somebody tonight to have a great race with it being a smaller grid this evening, and these guys have took full advantage of that. You mentioned the Alfa Romeo have really benefited from that tonight. They'll be absolutely delighted to get themselves a double podium this evening. But what a win it was in the end for Cliffy in that Racing Point. Breathing a huge sigh of relief, I'm sure. But the guys are in the chat with us now. I just want to ask you if you make sure your voices are allowed to be shared so everybody in the stream can hear you. And I'll start off with our race winner, Cliffy. Congratulations, you had a superb qualifying, getting yourself on that pole position, and in the end drove superbly to a race victory. You'd seen CRG Gamer coming. Were you aware he had a drive-through penalty to serve?
No. So when he got within, I think 1.5 seconds, I really started to panic. But I just decided to keep my head down. And when I saw him pit, I thought he might have got a puncture. So I didn't actually know he got a drive until after the race.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I thought it might be a puncture of some sort, or some sort of wing damage or anything. I wasn't sure what was going off there, but it was a well-deserved victory in the end for you. How was it for you? You had a battle early on with Scopefielder, but you eventually got clear of him. Did you feel like the race was within your hands then after you managed to win against Scopefielder in that battle halfway through the race?
Well, I mean, there was a start where I had a battle with Scott as well, and me and him were pretty much even on pace the first couple of laps. So I knew I had to sort of get ahead of him before the pit stops, and then Scopefielder I just sort of managed to get past down the back straight with DRS, and then from then on, I mean, he kept within the second, so I was a bit annoyed, but then when I got out of that second window, I sort of marched again a couple of attempts each lap, which sort of the gap built up, and from there, it was just trying to keep it consistent and trying to keep the tyres in check.
Well, congratulations, mate. You thoroughly deserve that win. It was a great win. And moving on to second place, Scopefielder. Congratulations, Scope. You've got a good double podium with your teammate Foxy tonight. It seemed towards the end of the race a bit of a lonely race for you. You weren't really close to Cliffy, but behind they were having their own battle. So how was the race for you overall? Was it just a case of managing the tyres and looking after the car and making sure you could bring home the podium when Cliffy had pulled away?
Yeah, to start with, I just tried to keep with Cliffy after he passed me. It was super hard because he was super quick, so I just tried to stay within that 1 second so I could have DRS, and I think I gained quite a lot of time just by staying within that second. But after that, it was quite a lonely race, just mentioning the tires, because I think it was over 75% in the end. So yeah, just make sure Foxy didn't catch up. So yeah, a bit lonely, but super happy with the result.
Yeah, well, sometimes the lonely race is sometimes the best, and coming home in second is a great result for you, so congratulations there. And moving on to Foxy, wow. Where do we start with you, mate? We've seen some epic battles tonight, especially between you and Scott, for example, and even Sambam Kid was trying to get involved at the end as well. I have to say, I was saying with Gareth, you was defending absolutely superbly, especially against Scott. I imagine you'll be wanting a good cold drink after all that battling this evening, but you, in the end, with Gamer taking that penalty, you ended up with a deserved podium. How was that race for you?
It was pretty good. I wasn't expecting much in this race because going into it, I thought the rear stability was all over the place. But yeah, qualified pretty low down as to be expected. But I think doing that medium to hard strategy was perfect. And yeah, I got caught up in quite a few battles. Harry early on, he was clearly quicker than me, but yeah, I managed to stick with him. And then yeah, Scott and Gamer, that was quite a battle. But once I was clear, it was pretty scary with Scott and Sambam in the end. I tried to keep Scott within DRS so that Sambam couldn't get past, because I knew he would pretty much fly past on those mediums, but yeah, then they crashed and that didn't help, and then he was right on the back of me to the end, and yeah, it was pretty scary at the last few laps.
I can imagine so, but in the end, it's a great podium for yourself, a great podium for Alfa Romeo, so yeah. Congratulations there. That's big points in the constructors, which I'm sure you both will be pleased about. Just moving back to you, Cliffy, one final question. We move on to Abu Dhabi next week. It's a love-hate track. Are you a lover or a hater of this track, and how are you feeling going into it?
I hate the track.
I'm with you.
So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much probably just gonna do a couple laps of time trial during the week, and then just see how I feel, and then yeah, just turn up and hopefully try and get another good result.
Cool, cool. Well, Gareth, you can agree there with Cliffy at least that the next week is not the greatest of tracks. Like I say, it's a love-hate. I don't mind it personally, but it's a love-hate track, and be interested to see how these three guys who have drove superbly, do next week around the track, especially with some of the guys coming back into the league after the transgressions. So overall, it was a really fun race to watch. That really fun race to commentate on. We had some superb battles in the middle of the pack there, but especially involving Foxy. I can't wait personally to look back on this race and see him once again through a stream, because, like I say, it was a fun race to watch.
Yeah, it really was, and it is always good to see. I say new people on the podium. We've seen Cliffy on the podium. We've seen Scopefielder, of course, all-time record winner here at IRL, and Foxy back on the podium first time since I think it was Singapore last season. So we say new podium. They're all used to it, but yeah, it is good to see new guys back on a Monday night joining us in the commentary box. And I do agree with Cliffy. There's not a deep, dark enough hole that Abu Dhabi can fall into for that circuit. So yeah, unfortunately we will be back next week covering that one. But yeah, mega race, really enjoyed it. Great to see these guys back out on circuit, and as you say, some brilliant battling throughout. And yeah, it was a shame that Gamer had to make that penalty right at the end, because it possibly cost us a last lap dash for the win. And equally, Sambam Kid, who had a brilliant race in starting 13th and fighting all the way through to 4th by the end of it. So yeah, it's good to see Sam back as well. But yeah, congratulations guys, brilliant race, really enjoyed it. You can shoot off if you want as we get ready to wrap up. It was yeah, great fun to watch. Hopefully you get to enjoy that one back, and of course you can do that by watching it all on this YouTube channel. Of course, it is Invictus Racing League's YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're new, like the video if you haven't already. Really does help us out. And of course, you can go to all the socials at Invictus RL on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Facebook and on Instagram, and of course the website is invictusracingleague.com. And if you'd like to follow Sab or I, you can go to @GT2_driving for myself, Gareth Hall, and at Alan Sabatino for Sab if you'd like to hear all things. I don't know whether you want to listen to me talk about my commentary that I do for the Fab Racing Mini Bike British Championship around the country. I'm heading up to Rower in the West Cumbria this weekend, so I've got a 5.5 hour journey up north, so I'm not looking forward to that one at all. But yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend, so you can check in. Of course, if you'd like to hear more about all sorts of stuff, McLaren, of course, that Sab is very much the place to go. But Sab, yeah, just a quick wrap up on that one. Brilliant race. Great to see Cliffy managing to get his qualifying sorted and picking up the 15 points that come with it for crossing the line first. And equally, really strong race for those two alphas, Scopefielder and Foxy Red 2000. Yeah,
the constructor stands, they'll be absolutely chuffed with that to come home with a double podium. But we've been saying this, haven't we, Gareth, about Cliffy? Cliffy is rapid. He really is rapid, and if he can sort that qualifying, get those niggles sorted, he could be a real genuine title contender in this league. And tonight, let's hope for his sake it proves it, and he can find some momentum going into qualifying next week and really push on and push the likes of Harry and Gamer, because those two tonight finished further down the field. So if he can get some form and consistency, who knows, we could even see Cliffy in the battle for the championship. So yeah, huge congratulations to him once again. He's been absolutely superb tonight, and nobody could get any closer. And if he does that again next week, other people are going to have to really push hard to beat him.
Yeah, they will indeed, and Cliffy really projects himself up into the championship contention now, with Gamer and Harry only picking up a handful of points in 6th and in 5th and 6th position. So yeah, only a couple of points there. So Cliffy really helps himself out there. Equally, Foxy with the 10 points there for 3rd position gets himself up there as well. So don't count out a couple of these other drivers on circuit. Of course, we're expecting to see a much bigger grid next week out. We've had a couple of absentees from this one due to a varying few reasons. So the grid for Abu Dhabi will hopefully be a bit bigger, much stronger, and will create some really strong racing. We very much hope. But of course, you can find that all here on the YouTube channel. Not the only race, of course. Last night was the XBOX F1 League. That race is now already up on the YouTube channel, so you can watch it now. by just probably clicking to the right hand side, or if I remember, I'll make it one of the suggested videos at the end of this one when I put the cards up. But apart from that, tomorrow night, of course, you have got on twitch.tv/Invictus Racing League. You can go and watch the Xbox F2 League, or you can watch on YouTube right here on this channel the PS4 F2 League with Harry and Charlie commentating on that one. On Wednesday, we will have the PS4 F3 and F4 leagues with Jake covering F4 and Ryan and Jakob, or Rymac and Jakob, covering F3, and the PC League with J. Cole, brand new commentator, will be covering the PC League. First time they've managed to get themselves streaming, so it's great to see the PC League will maybe now be going from strength to strength. They'll all be streaming on a Wednesday night on the YouTube channel. And finally, on Thursday, you have the IRL Realistic Performance League, or the IRL Performance League. Our oldest and most unique league, with points for all, reverse grids, full qualifying, the lot. It's all happening on a Thursday night, so make sure you check in with Tim and Malk on a Thursday for all of that, and they will be wrapping up our week here in China, the Shanghai International Circuit. And yeah, but for tonight, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you've enjoyed your evening, if you have stuck it out to the end of this video and the end of the broadcast. My name has been Gareth. I've been joined as always by Sab, so thank you very much, Sab. We will see you next Monday, I'm very sure. And yeah, have a great week, guys. Stay safe, wear a mask, do all that good stuff that you're meant to do. Of course, go to the socials and check us out if you'd like to find out more about Invictus Racing League. And we will see you in 7 days' time in Abu Dhabi.